Hello my friends, welcome back, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Natalia Leigh. I'm an indie author and the managing editor at Enchanted Ink Publishing, and today is day 3 of NaNoWriMo. It is 5:23, and believe it or not, I actually have already gotten started on my nanoing for the day. Today has been the first day that I've been able to get to my project before 6 p.m, so I'm pretty happy about that. It is a Friday, and we usually do all of our errands and stuff on Fridays, but I did 2 weeks of meal prep last week, so we don't have to go into town and go grocery shopping today, and I am so happy about it because grocery shopping takes us forever because of how far out of town we live. But anyway, I've been working for a while and I already finished chapter 4. Let me turn this music down. So chapter 4 is done. Last night I edited the first 2 scenes of chapter 4, and I just finished editing the third and final scene of chapter 4. So we're good to go there. Today's day 3 and I've already finished 4 chapters, so I'm a little bit ahead, but I have some new chapters to write coming up here, so it's better to be ahead at this point in the month. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started on chapter 5 here very soon. I have not really looked ahead to see what it is. So, okay, so chapter 5, now that I just glanced ahead, it is definitely going to need some changes because what I'm essentially doing is taking what was the inciting incident in chapter 5, that's no longer the inciting incident and it needs to be moved back, and some of the other content from later chapters needs to be moved up. So there's gonna be a bit of moving around of large chunks of content starting here in chapter 5. So hopefully I won't get slowed down too much, but I have a feeling that it's really just going to get more and more difficult from this point forward. Now that things have officially changed, the timeline has changed, my outline has changed, all of that. So I'm gonna have quite a bit more work to do starting here in chapter 5. All right, I wanted to give you a little update. I just finished going over chapter 5, and what ended up happening was the first half of it was okay. I had to change a few little details, but then the second half I had to completely cut. So now chapter 5 is quite a bit shorter, and what I have in terms of outlines at this point is I have my original outline so that I can get at a glance I can see what's happening in every chapter, and then I also have my new outline that I am using as a roadmap for revisions that I want to make. So at this point I now need to take what was chapter 12 and move it up as chapter 6, and hopefully I won't have to do too much revision because chapter 12 in the original manuscript was after the proposal, and it's some of that wedding planning, and hopefully when I bring it over as chapter 6 I don't need to do a ton of editing because it is still relevant. You know, it's happening after the proposal, the wedding planning still needs to occur, all of that has to happen. It's just happening much earlier in the book. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab chapter 12, bring it up, make it chapter 6, and I'm just gonna keep working from there. And I really hope this doesn't become an absolute mess. Wish me luck. Okay, it is almost 9 o'clock, so I'm going to wrap up my nanoing, but I want to give you an update. Chapter 6 went really fast, so I took chapter 12, brought it over to chapter 6. I ended up cutting 1 scene from the new chapter 6. I read over the scene and it was just filler. There was nothing important that happened in that scene, and I felt that it was just dragging the pace down, so I cut that entire scene and finished chapter 6, and then moving on to chapter 7, what I had to do was go grab chapter 13 from the original draft, bring it up to become a new chapter 7, and that is what I am working on here. And chapter 7, I'm actually really glad I'm going to be able to use this after all, because this is one of my favorite chapters in the book. It's just a really fun scene. I had a wonderful time writing it, and it's just like a scene that feels good, and I would have been sad to have to cut it, but I was able to salvage it and make it important, imperative to the plot. So I get to keep it, thank goodness. So I am working now on this chapter 7, used to be chapter 13, but I will say that tonight, working on this, you know, having to like bring multiple chapters up, move other chapters down, I'm feeling like I'm not really in the story. Like with chapters 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4, I was really in the story, and I feel like I was working more on a line level, but now I've definitely pulled back for these chapters, and I'm zooming way out, and I'm definitely more at a developmental level now, where I'm just trying to make sure I'm getting my scenes in order. And something I need to keep in my mind and keep reminding myself of is this is not a line editing pass. We are not there yet. I still technically haven't even truly finished a full draft of this book, because NaNoWriMo started and I had not yet written the last chapter of the book. So I have to not be thinking about this in terms of like making the writing really strong and making sure all the dialogue flows. Like, I'm not there yet. And I think I'm kind of getting in over my head, feeling like not only do I need to move these chapters and get the structure right, but now I have to make sure that it actually sounds good, and it's just a little too much. So that's a reminder to myself that each chapter is going to need something a little different. Some of them I might be able to really go in on the line level, but tonight I was focusing on the overarching plot and structure and more of a zoomed out developmental level. So just saying that aloud helps me feel a little bit better. We're now sitting at 48,511, and that decrease in word count is probably due to that whole scene that I cut out of chapter 6, just because it was boring. We didn't need it. So even though I'm not happy about seeing my word count go down, like I want to see my word count go up to 60,000. I want those 60,000 words to be relevant to the story and not just filler. So filler has to go. So that's where we're at tonight. Currently working on chapter 7, even though it's only day 3. But like I said, it's just going to keep getting more difficult from here. So every extra chapter I can throw in there, I think is going to really help me in the long run. I'm sitting at 48,511 words. I'm going to save my manuscript, wrap it up, and I will see you back here tomorrow for NaNoWriMo Day 4. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.